Hello, everyone. We are live. Hopefully, the audio is working. We'll give it just a second to test that and we can get started looking. First, we're going to look through the Bella Luna collection and then we're going to make a card or two. I have some ideas drafted out. So, just let me know in the chat if the audio is not working and we'll go ahead and get started. So, the Bella Luna collection came with a lot of different items. So we're going to go through those kind of quickly. I did open them all so that wouldn't have to do that on stream because that can be kind of a pain. Or I opened most of them. These ones I didn't. Let's get started looking at these ink pads. I think this is the biggest set of ink pads they've come out with 6 different ink pads. There's the 2 duet ink the 3 duet ink pads, and then the shimmer ink pads. And the duet ink pads are going to be very much like the Distress Oxide ink pads. And then the shimmer ink pads are just what the name says, where it's shimmer ink. Then we're going to open these and take a look. The shimmer ink pads, I wasn't 100% sure about, but actually the ones that I have work really well. They do convey the shimmer and the color pretty easily. So there we go. Get the last one out. Maybe it'll work. There we go. And toss that away. So let's see. Then we've got 3 duet ink pads. There's this Sailor's Wake, which is a nice turquoisey blue teal color. Midnight Mist, which is somewhere between a navy and a purple. And a Raspberry Ripple, which is a raspberry color. Let's test those real quick on this little piece of paper. Well, it doesn't seem like it's super highly inky, so that might be slightly problematic. But they are really pretty colors, so there is that. So there's a look at those 3 colors: Raspberry Ripple, Midnight Mist, and Sailor's Wake. Then the 3 pearlescent shimmer colors are Tropic Blue. Ooh, that one's pretty and very, very juicy. So I like that. Lime Soda. It may also be the ink pad is easier to get off, but no, these, yeah, this one's more of a foam. This one's less dense. This one's more dense. So there is that. And then the Queen Bee. Wow. So those shimmer ink pads are really shimmery, very juicy. I like them a lot. And they'll get even more shimmery as they finish drying. So that is a look at the ink pads. The next item is the glitter paste. And if you've watched any of my shorts, you will know that I like the glitter paste. So let's take a look at that one. This one is called Moonlight Sparkle. Crafter's Companion has a bunch of different glitter pastes, and they even have one called Moonlight Frost, which looks very similar to this Moonlight Sparkle. The sparkle may have bigger granules of glitter. I'm thinking that might be the one difference. So I don't super love that it's like the exact same thing, but we'll go ahead and put it down so we can test. The one thing I did not do is get some press and seal ready, so I'll have to do that after the stream. What I typically do is put a little bit of press and seal around the top to keep it nice and juicy for a while. Okay, just grab a little bit of that, and later I'll go ahead and take this fully off and add some press and seal and That'll keep that nice and perfect for a very long time. So there we go. And per usual, I'm creating a hill mess. So we'll just be a little wasteful and take that off. Okay, so grab it there, and put it down. So really, it looks almost exactly the same as this Moonlight Frost. I personally don't see a difference. The only possible thing is the sparkle. The glitter on this Moonlight Sparkle is a hair bigger than the Moonlight Frost. So if you already have the Moonlight Frost, you probably don't need that sparkle. Unless you really like glitter paste and then, hey, you'll use it. Let's put that to the side to let it dry. Next we have the shimmer sprays, which we've got a silver, a white, silver, and a gold. Let's get these puppies out and take a look at them. I'm gonna need a scissors, I guess, to try and open these. I did not realize they were shrink wrapped, although that is nice because sometimes things like this will be overfilled and then the ink will come out and it'll get everywhere during shipping and it's just a pain. But they are nicely packaged to keep any spills from ruining everything else. Now with these, you will want to make sure that the pearl is integrated. Otherwise, you'll get clogs. So we'll give this a quick shake. And then I have my little box so we can spray on here. We'll go ahead and put this down and let's do a quick spray. So this is going to be that white silver. Clean off the tip. And the gold. Oh, I like that gold a lot. It would also be interesting to see these on dark colored cardstock. So we'll let those dry and we can come back later. I will also fully clean out the spray mechanic of those shimmer sprays after the stream, because if you don't, that's when you have a lot of issues. So it takes a minute, but it's totally worth it. The final mixed media part of this set is this highlights art set, which is very nice. It has this opaque white pen, which I have another one of these from Spectrum Noir, so I'm probably not going to open it and get it started. But it's simple. You shake it, pump it, and then the white starts coming out. And it is very opaque. And then also we have, although I'm not sure exactly what this black thing is, but probably just part of the pen mechanic, we have this white gouache paint, which gouache is very much like watercolor, except for it's more opaque. So it's somewhere between watercolor and acrylic. It moves with water, but it's more opaque like acrylic is. So that's really cool. So you can do little splashes. You can do a lot of different things. It seems fine. Maybe we can try it out later. Oh, there is. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll try this out. Oh, that has a smell though. There is a intense smell with that. Just FYI. Next, let's take a look at some of the papers. So they came with 4 different sets of paper, including a 6x6, a 12x12, then we have 8x8 vellum, and some 8.5 by 11 linen cardstock. Taking a look, we'll look at the vellum last. Taking a look first at this 6 by 6 paper pad, which I believe is the same as the 12 by 12, just shrunk down. So we've got quite a few really beautiful pages here. I like that they have the A side with more stuff and then the B side with less, so that you can add in your own embellishments if you'd like. 2, 3. It looks like there's 3 of each page style. So we've got the purple, and on the back of the purple, we just got a night sky. We've got this midnight blue, and on the back, the ocean. Oh, there is a little fox maybe, or no, it's a flower on the bottom. Then we've got another midnight blue. This one looks kind of like a lagoon, very pretty, almost identical to the last B-side paper. Then we've got another ocean one. You can see a little sailboat. Again, almost identical, except for there's a sailboat. So there is going to be a lot of duplication on this B side, but that's okay. You'll probably use the A side most of the time. And we've got this really beautiful, huge moon one in kind of purpley colors. And the B side is really beautiful on this one. I think I might prefer the B side on this specific one. It seems like they just took out a few of those details. Again, another ocean blue one. Again, B side almost the same. So you may not want to get as many of these papers because the papers are so similar to each other. So if you usually buy 2 or 3 of the paper pads, this may not be the collection to do that unless this just really speaks to you. So quickly going through the rest, like I said, they're very similar. They are really beautiful. They're just very similar. And I love this color a lot. This green, almost teal, beautiful. And the back is also awesome, which gets us almost to the end. Another purple. I do like the back there. And that's our 6 by 6. The 12 by 12 is going to be very similar, except for on a bigger scale. So I'll just quickly flip through that. Same colors, same backgrounds. Maybe they put a little bit more detail in some of these 12 by 12 papers, but it's mainly just the scale is a lot larger. This one's like exactly the same. And I believe they also have 3 of each different design. So we'll put these to the side. And finally, the luxury linen cardstock. There's 8 colors, which with 3 of each color. And they should match perfectly with the cardstock. So we have this kind of plum purple, which does go perfectly. I'm not a huge fan of this color, but what can you do? And then we have this magenta, which I do like. It's almost the same color as my shirt. Then we've got some of the green. Ooh, I like that moss green color. The teal. Ooh, 2 teals, more of a teal and then a mint. Beautiful. And we've got some of this cream white, which is going to go with just the whole collection really well. And I believe this is 2 separate colors. Yeah, there's this more gray blue and more midnight purple blue. So really cool linen cardstock. You really can see that linen look. Let me see if I can get it. Hopefully you can see that. It does look like it's embossed on there because on the back it looks debossed. Now I'm going to cough for just a second, so I'm going to go on mute. Now that we have finished that, let's take a look real quick at these vellum cardstocks. There are 4 of each design, so we'll just take a look at each of the 6 designs. So there's that kind of brown boat one. And we got this oceany one. Here's the more purple background one. That's really pretty. I love the vellums. I just always struggle with what to do with them. Here's this more blue with the sailboat. That looks really beautiful in the vellum. And then that purple large moon. And then finally, we have just another blue ocean one. So that gets through all of the different paper pads. The final thing is the stamps, dies, and stencils, and I believe there's one embossing folder. So looking at the stamps, and I believe all of the stamps come with coordinating dies. There's the bunny with the outline, the die outline. So that one's decent. I did have a bunny growing up as a child, and that did not go well, so I'm not a huge bunny person, but that's just me. We also have some dolphins, just one dolphin with the coordinating outline die. This wolf howling at the moon, that's fun. I'm not sure I love that they have the ground as part of the die and stamp, but that's the choice they made. We've got this little girl swinging on a swing. Then this die is the outline here, this dark purple where it has the clouds, and then it cuts out this circle which matches these 2 stamps. So you can see on these 2, the stamp is a circle, and then you can kind of die cut it out with that. I do think this is going to be a very versatile stamp where you can stamp a lot of different things on the inside, well beyond this Bella Luna collection. So I do really like this die. The other final 2 dies, we have this one, which is a moon and some vines going around it. I'm not sure that this picture really showcases what this die can do, but it is going to be a really cool die. So put that to the side. Finally, there is this really beautiful crescent floral. That's the exact name, floral crescent. And you can see it's just beautiful with the coordinating die. Finally, with the stamps, we have these 2 that we just looked at. They do have a few additional sentiments to go along with those more illustrative stamps. Finally, we move to the embossing folder, and it's an interesting embossing folder. I'm not sure I would have picked this up if it wasn't part of the whole collection. I just bought the collection as a bundle, but it came with it. It's interesting. I'll have to think about how to use that in a way that's really nice. Next, we have the landscape builder, and that comes with a bunch of different ways to build up a landscape. And they don't really show you a good example of that, so either you have to use your imagination or look online and see what other people have done. And that gets through the whole collection. So I thought we could make a card next, and I went ahead and drafted up a few ideas. Let me pull them over. So my first idea was on a 6x6 card. We could do this background, do some inking and this beautiful gold for the moon, and then put some glitter paste over it and die cut out that beautiful wolf, and then have the wolf stamped and embossed under it. So that's option one. This one is cut out the pattern paper in the shape of like one of those Luna moths, and then have the linen paper underneath on some black cardstock. Then using the crescent moon, could also do something cool with the pattern paper on the outside, and then having that shimmer ink, shine through from the die cut. Then in the A4, the 5.5 by 4.25 size, we could use that die with the moon all around, watercolor one of the scenes, and have some pattern paper on the outside. And then the final one would be stamping and embossing the floral crescent and having the love you sentiment. So those are some options. Let's take, I want to do one with some pattern paper. So let's go ahead and try this one, where we take one of the 6x6 pattern papers and die cut out that crescent moon. I think it makes sense to go ahead and pick one of the papers from the 6x6 pad, and we'll grab this moon. And there is one of the stamps that says "You light up the dark," so we can stamp and emboss that. Here is our moon, and let's pick out a pattern paper. We're going to spray some of the gold and the white silver spray. So let's keep that in mind when we think maybe something darker. They all kind of have moons, but if we went with this, that might work. Kind of emboss it there. Or we could do here. And maybe we can just ink around the edges a little bit with that purple. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll pull this one off. And the next step is to emboss it. So let's grab, or to die cut it. Let's take a little bit of tape. We're going to take some washi tape, and I'm going to put a little bit of it on my skin so that it can stick where it needs to stick, but not hopefully too much. And should work perfect. And I can show what I'm doing here with the Gemini. How cool. We're just going to stick that on through. I really love how the Gemini 2 is very quiet. And we just pull that out. Oh, perfect. It die cut out without any issues at all. And we'll stick that back to the side. Now that we've done that, let's spray. So my thought was we could spray onto the card layer itself with both of these two beautiful colors. So I'll move this to the side. Pick our paper back up, and somewhere I have the card bases that we can use. Here we go. So you can see how beautiful those dried back. They do separate a little bit, so that's something interesting of note. You can always do some kind of background inking and then spray on the top, and you're still going to be able to see quite a bit of that behind. So here's our card base. We'll use this as the front side, and when we're thinking about this, we don't need to spray the whole card. We just kind of need to get this center area. Do a nice shake, remembering to check that we're getting it nice and shook up, and we'll start with some of the white. Give it a couple spritzes and move to the gold. Maybe we'll do a little bit more gold on the bottom and a little bit more white on the top. Now, we've got to let that dry for a few minutes. We could also heat dry that. So I'm going to take this over and heat dry it for just a second. Oh, it is not plugged in, so we are going to wait and let that air dry for a few minutes. And while we do that, we can pull this paper back over and maybe pull out this tropic blue. Maybe instead of the tropic blue shimmer, we'll go with this Midnight Mist Duet ink pad. Grab one of our blending tools and blend out just kind of around the moon. That'll give it a little bit of a glow, as well as hopefully cover up some of the moon that came on the paper, because we don't really need that moon. So we're just gonna blend out a little bit, get ink all over ourselves, because it wouldn't be a crafting session if we didn't. And that does really cover up that moon quite well. It's not going to be perfect. You're still going to be able to see it, but it's not going to draw your eye as much with the blue covering it. So there we go. Then to prep this for the next time we use it, we'll go ahead and just rub off the blue now as well. And a reminder, the Duet ink pads are very similar to the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide, where they're kind of a mix of pigment and ink pads, and so they have a lot of those qualities. I like that they're a little bit more pigmented than the regular ink pads, and they can become a little bit more opaque than just regular ink pads, so that's always a plus. Finally, we will add some foam tape to the back. Get that ready so we can just pop this on that card front once it's dry. I tend to be someone who really goes heavy on the foam tape. So I know other people just put a tiny little dab. Let's get this really stuck down. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab some of this, I believe it's scrapbook.com foam on a roll, and it's a 2-inch wide roll. I like it because you can cut the foam down to whatever size you need, but you can get some large chunks of it. So we'll just keep putting that on the back. They also have some thin lines of the foam, which we can come in and fill out some of those areas. But I think we should be about good to go after this piece. We're not doing a shaker or anything like that. We're just trying to get this foam in place so it holds it nice and steady for us up. Oh, but I really should have stamped our "You Light Up the Dark" down here first. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to stamp that real well with the foam on there. So that was a mistake. Don't you just love that? In the middle of making something and make a huge mistake. We will try it. We'll see if it works. Worst case, it doesn't. And here are the two stamp sets that should be on. It's in this one, "You Light Up the Dark." I thought that was a cute sentiment. I have so many sentiments. I have a whole catalog of all of my stamps and dies, and that started because I had so many sentiments and I could never find what I wanted. So I stamped everything out, put it into a catalog, and it just kind of expanded from there to be just everything I own. And it's a whole thing. But so I don't actually buy that many sentiments because you don't really need them when you actually know what you have and know where to find it. So let's try and kind of curve this. Oops, I'm sorry. You're just looking at my Gemini being like, why is she showing me that? So we've got this curved. We can kind of curve it a bit more when it's on our block. And we'll go like that. Oh, and we curved it too much. There we go. Uncurve it. And we can kind of decide where we want this. Oh, perfect. It's looking really cute. And then we can, oh, that'll just be adorable. Okay. And I put enough under there where I think it should be fine. So we'll go ahead and grab some of this ink. I like pigment ink to hold down embossing powder. I think that it holds better to the embossing powder than the embossing ink pads do. So we'll go ahead, grab some gold, because I think that'll be fun with our gold in the moon. And the last thing we need is our little anti-static powder. And let's double check that this is going to be dry enough before I mess everything up again. Yes, it's perfectly dry, so we will be fine to go ahead and ink and stamp this. There we go. Ink it up. And wipe that off so we don't get it everywhere. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, sorry. Can't talk and stamp perfectly at the same time. Very important things need to focus on. Finally, we'll just pour a little bit of this gold ink, gold embossing powder on top, so we get some nice golden words. And of course, we'll have to heat set that. And my heat gun is unplugged at the moment, but I can plug that in real quick. So if you give me 1 minute to plug that in, we can finish up this card really quick. Okay, we're back and we're going to switch over to my catalog, and you can see what I'm doing with our heat gun. We're going to let the heat gun, if I can get it in frame, get nice and hot. You can hear it going. And once it's warmed up, you can just see how beautiful the embossing powder quickly turns and really makes that a stunning card. Okay, now let me go ahead and grab the background while we're at it, and we can finish drying that real quick because it's close but not fully dry yet. And the heat gun will speed it up. There we go. Now, normally I might put that under a book or something for a little bit so that it straightens out, but we can go ahead and just finish up this card. And you can see how pretty that shimmer spray turns out. I think this would just be really pretty over something. Now, we can either have this open up and down. Oh, I really like that with the kind of gold more at the bottom and the white more at the top. Or we can have it open sideways. I'm really leaning up and down. I think that just really turned out. Oh, cute, cute, cute. Very cute card. Now we have to take off all the little pieces that keep it from sticking. The less pieces you cut, the less you have to pull off, but the more pieces you have, the better it's going to stick and the better it's going to look in the end. So I have to figure out who to send this to. Somebody who lights up the dark. I thought that was a really good sentiment. Now, the most important thing when putting a back or a front on the card is to get it lined up where you have the fold, because that's going to be the thing that's going to be the hardest to fix if you get it wrong. So I always start with the folded end down and push it like that. Now what I'll probably do is put this under a heavy book or something for the night just to really straighten it out. But otherwise, it came out really cute without a lot of effort. Just very, it all goes together. I thought it turned out adorable. So the only other thing you could do is if you wanted to go through a stencil with some of this glitter paste, you could definitely do that. You could add some darkness to the edges to make the center pop. There's a lot of different things you could do in addition to this, but I tend to go overboard and then it doesn't look very good. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here on this card. Although, actually, I say that and then I'm going to change my mind. We could add the inside of the moon to the inside of the card. That would be cute. Let's go ahead and do that. Oops. Oh, I'm grabbing glue, but I have some right here. So we're going to do this glue stick. And I think it's going to look cuter if we do the back side as opposed to the front side. So let's just add some quick glue and get that added in. I want to thank you guys for joining, and for anybody who's joining on the replay, really enjoyed spending this time with y'all. Make sure to subscribe because I'll have another live this week and we can do a few more cards. And then next week we'll take a look at the same time, we'll take a look at the new Tim Holtz ink colors. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys had fun and I'll see you soon. Bye.